Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, let's take a look at how we can use an octave effect to make our guitars sound lower and more beefier. So an octave effect is where you take an octave or pitch shifting effect, you shift the signal down minus 12 semitones, so a whole octave down, and then you mix or blend that in with the original signal. Normally it's about 50%, so you're getting that clean signal of the original pitch, and then you're pitching it down a whole octave and blending them together. So you've got some classic guitar effects like the Boss octave effect, and also in most of your plugins and DAWs, there's some pitch effects that you can do to build up this effect. So I'm just going to go the plugin route because it's easier that way. I've got this guitar over here in drop D. And then for the plugins over here, I'm using an instance of Hypertune. I've dialed it down minus 12 semitones, and as you can see over here, I'm setting the mix at about 50%. So now we're getting this blend of a pitch down octave effect. So as you can see, it's already sounding a lot beefier. And you get that sort of low effect by adding in that octave down effect. So I want to show you what this sounds like within the context of a full mix, and this effect does work a lot better when using your sort of single note riffs. So let's hear what this sounds like within a full mix over here. So I've got this guitar playing back with some drums so we can hear what the context sounds like within a full mix. Okay, so that's what it sounded like with a Tele and drop D. And if you know my channel, you know I like to focus in on low tunings, so let's take this lower. So over here, I've got my PRS mic Mushok, and it's tuned to drop A, and we're going to be using the same thing. So we're going to be using the Hypertune, but before, let me just play it through what it sounds like. And then activating the pitching effect. And now let's hear what it sounds like with some drums as well in the full mix. So definitely sounding a lot beefier there with that pitching effect. And as I did mention, it does work really well with single note riffs, obviously if you're going for some chords. It loses a bit of the effect, so I'd recommend sticking with single note riffs. So definitely sounding a lot beefier with that pitching effect over there. So this guitar is in drop A, which really is A1, and we're adding an A0 beneath that. So that's like the 5th string drop down from B to A on a 5-string bass. Now let's take it even lower. So over here, I've got my Aria Pro 30-inch Baritone, and this is tuned to drop E. And this is going to be wild. So let's add the octave effects on here and hear what this sounds like. So I'm just going to add that on and let's take a listen. Okay, so now let's hear what it sounds like with those drums. Okay, so that is drop E with that pitching down a whole octave to E0. And I gotta say, it starts sounding a bit funky here with that low tuning. I'd probably say that A sounds really good, but here at E, if you think about it, you got down to E0 and you get that audible sort of bass frequency. So let me show you what I mean. So if we jump into the plugin over here, I'm just going to bypass the amp sim. I'm going to go to my first part over here, which is in D. I'm going to turn off the hypertune and just solo the guitar and play it back. And then turn on the hypertune. And I just want to turn the mix all the way to 100%. And this is what it sounds like. So you can still make out the pitch of that guitar. Let's do the same. I'm going to jump over here to the riff, which was my mic Mushok, and that's in drop A. And then turning on the hypertune and listening back. So as you can hear, it's still audible. Now going across over here to my Aria Pro guitar, this is in drop E. Now adding that pitching in a whole octave below. Take a listen here. So you really start losing the sort of audible tonal quality when it gets that low. So summing up, an octave effect really works well to beef up your sort of higher tuned guitars. It adds this fullness to it and makes it perceived lower than it really is. So for example, with that telly and drop D, it really sounded lower than it was. But when you go to something like this, for example, a 30-inch baritone tuned to drop E, and you add in a pitching effect, it really isn't really working well and doing justice and hearing that audible quality of that lower tuning. So I'd say if you want to use an octave effect, see where the limit is. For me, I'd say it's probably A and shifting down a whole octave below, but it really adds that fullness and deeper character to your guitar tones. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel or if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified of future videos. I'll catch you in the next one.